What's up, y'all? Welcome to your weekly coach. I'm your coach, Lacy. I'm glad you're here. This week, we're going to talk about a topic that is like one of the most important, like perhaps the most important topic when it comes to how we move about the world, what determines who we become, how we reach success, why some people move more swiftly than others, and that topic is belief. So one of my favorite quotes is actually a song quote, Gavin DeGraw song quote that goes like this: belief makes things real. And that couldn't be more true. So basically when we form a belief, we decide whether it's true for us or not. And then when we decide that it's true, whether it is or not, we live in accordance to fulfill that belief. So if we believe that the world, for example, is good and kind and supportive and that we can reach our dreams, we will create scenarios and meet people that will fulfill that belief about life, about the world, about the way things work. If, however, somewhere along the way we develop a belief, like it or not, that the world is unkind, that bad things happen, and what's another thing, we kind of like a magnet find more things like that. But it's all founded in belief. Belief was like the anchor magnet that pulled it all together. So today I want to chat a little bit about it, but I also want to kind of like walk you through how to decide which beliefs work for you, how to engage in beliefs that are supportive, and how to take a look maybe at beliefs in a different way than you have. It's kind of a weird thing, like it's this like odd human condition that we don't really know most of how we're operating because it's comfortable. Like we don't question it unless we don't like it, unless it's uncomfortable enough. So for example, we could, like, when I ask you, think of the things in your life that are working. We can do things like we can hit the high notes and we can hit the low notes too. The high notes being the good beliefs, the beliefs that serve us, the big epiphanies that we've had in our lives. Like I remember the moment that I realized that we really do get to choose how we live. Like I remember being fresh out of high school and then again out of college. It was this new awakening of realizing like, holy crap, we get to literally create our own lives. Like we get to choose that. How cool is that? So that's a belief, right? And then I went on and I lived in accordance with that. I went on to kind of like make my own way. I designed my own degree for myself. I like had this like split degree of all these different things. But that worked for me. But I also believed that that's how I would design my life, that I could make my way in that particular way based on that belief about life. So that would be something that would be working for me. So maybe you would think of things like, what other things could be working for you? It's working for you like your work-life balance. It's working for you that you've gotten into a new health and nutrition fitness routine. Maybe that's how that's working for you. We can remember the things when we decided at a point in time that we weren't going to do the old thing anymore, and we decided we're going to do the new. So that's why high points like when we get in good relationships, when we find good friendships that are healthy and life-giving, life-serving, supportive of us, those would be things that are working. But I remember having a conversation with my wife last week, and I remember saying, I came downstairs and I went to sit down and have breakfast with her, and I was like, babe, it's so weird. I was just thinking about beliefs. And she's like, what? And I said, it's so weird that the majority of our beliefs that we operate on a day-to-day basis, we actually like have kind of no idea what they are. Because unless they're high enough to be really awesome or low enough to be miserable, we don't really pay much attention to it. We just kind of go along with the motions, right? So I was like, I think like if I rate it on a percentage, because I like the metrics of what that looks like and feels like, if I rate it on a percentage, I was like, honestly, I think even though I've studied personal development since I was 10, like going to seminars and things with my mom, I think if I had to rate that, it would be like, honestly, like a 5% that I know, the things that I believe, that I'm aware, that I'm connected to it, and that it's working for me. Do you know what that leaves? That leaves 95% just at the whim of how we grew up, what type of family we grew up in, what our family's stories were, what they believed about their own lives, what they believe is true and real and available to us. Like, that's a lot of stuff. It's socially, right? Like our social construct of our world, depending on how long we've been around and alive. The longer you're alive, the more stuff there is to deconstruct and figure out. So it's an interesting piece, right? So I'm like, okay, well, we can sort of figure out what's working because they're the high points, but like, what about what isn't working? Like, how do we take a look at what could be better when we're kind of, in large part, most of the world is just kind of used to meh. Like, it's not great, but it's not awful. It just kind of is. Because I think that we can live a bigger, bolder, less mediocre, for sure, life. So I'm like, what is that? So I put together a little bit of a cheat sheet for you. And I want you to use this as you go through your week for this next week. I think if you use this every week, if you just use this, your life would be dramatically improved because you'd have control of your thoughts and your feelings and your beliefs. You'd be aware. It connects you, okay? So I created this very fancy sheet of paper. I didn't create the paper, don't worry. It's just an 8x10 piece of paper. So I'm going to hold it up here. And on the left side, I'll get it close enough here, it says, what's not working? Far left. So grab a piece of paper if you're listening. And on the far left side, write on the very top of it, what is not working? And now that's hard for us to figure out. What's not working? Like, I don't know. Like, we kind of figure out surfacey things, and then we resolve that it's too hard, and then we say things like, I mean, things are fine, whatever. So what I want you to do is this, take it a step deeper. Not just what's not working, but I want you to stop and think about what you complain about. And I know complaining is like a yicky word, but it is true, right? What things do you complain about? What do you struggle with? What are you frustrated about? What are you frustrated about in the day-to-day life? So, maybe think back to your morning and you're frustrated that you didn't get help. Your husband or your wife didn't help you. You're frustrated that you were late. God, I'm always late. God, nobody helps me. I just feel alone. I feel like nobody gets me. Nobody reaches out to me. Do they even care? What is it for you that would be something that's not working, right? Like, it might not be horribly painful at this point, but it's not really working, right? It's enough that it's like a frustration and a toleration. So whatever that is, write that frustration or toleration down in that column on the far left side, the what's not working column, okay? Write down as many as you can. Keep this paper with you throughout your day and jot down more as you go. If you get through your workday and you're like, my boss doesn't understand me, my colleagues don't listen to what I say, they don't value what I have to say, I work my butt off, and what do I have to show for it? Whatever it is, no judgment. Truly, no judgment whatsoever. The whole point in writing in this column is to understand what works for you and what's not working for you so that we can move toward more of the what's working. But first you gotta identify what isn't, okay? So instead of letting those frustrations and complaints be frustrations and complaints for years and years and years, which is what eats away at and destroys people, we want to move to this middle column. And in this middle column, I want you to write down 3 columns, right? Far left side, what's not working. In the middle, I want you to write down right there, what new belief, write it at the top, what new belief must I adopt to change? Okay? So now, for example, I'll give you some examples. So now with my example of what's not working is I always have to do it myself. If I want anything done right, I've got to do it myself. That's one of the thick beliefs that I had for a long time. And then when I take it to that middle category, what new belief do I have to adopt to change? Well, for me, the new belief that I had to adopt was that other people can also do it just as good as me, if not better. And my ego didn't really like that. My ego was like, no, I can do it better, blah, 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 blah. But the truth is that I couldn't do it all and I was miserable trying. So if I don't want to do it all and I don't want to have to manage and micromanage, what new belief must I adopt? Well, I must adopt that, just maybe other people can do it too. And I also must adopt that I'm still valuable even when I'm not trying to do it all, right? Because there's an undercurrent too, which makes me, I'm upset about how I have to do it all, and if it's going to be done right, it has to be done by me. But there's my ego likes to pump itself up a little bit, right, and say how great I am because I do it all myself. So that's a good example of what's not working, and then a new belief. Maybe he never listens to me. He never listens to me. Maybe that's one of your things that isn't working. Never listens to me. Well, what new belief must I adopt to make change here? Well, maybe I have to adopt that that I deserve to advocate for myself. Maybe I have to adopt that I'm worth being heard. Maybe I have to, and in doing that, maybe I share things like, hey, I'm going to assume it's a relationship. I was going to say, hey, babe. You wouldn't say that to a boss, obviously, Billy. Hey, I just really feel like lately when I've been talking, I just really feel like you're not hearing me. Because when you believe that what you have to say is worthy, and you believe that you have this level of confidence, you'll share stuff like that. Why not? You won't make people guess. You make people guess when you believe you're less than. When you believe that there's games to play. When you believe that they should guess. When you believe that they should know. They shouldn't know. They don't live your life. They don't know. They have no idea. They live their whole internal other world. We live this external world that we share with everybody else, and we live such a different world within that no matter who we're married to, who we are, there are still parts of ourselves nobody will ever know except for us. Do not make people guess. Maybe another example of what's not working is I never get a break. I'm exhausted. I work constantly. I never get a day off, and I'm not even making good headway. Or I'm not even appreciated. Well, gosh, so what new belief do I have to adopt in order to change? Well, if I believe that I'm doing it all and I'm exhausted and I need a break, well, then the column in the middle, the new belief that I must adopt to change, maybe that's I do better work when I'm restored, when I'm rested, when I'm at peace with myself. Maybe the new belief that you've got to adopt is I still have worth even when I am not at work. It's okay to rest. Maybe that's true for you. All right, so there's some examples there. We're going to move to the third column here, okay? So in your third column, the far right column, I want you to write down at the top, what is the new result? God, this is good. It's so good, you guys. This is how you create new beliefs, which then create new habits and patterns, which then changes your life, because all we are is a series of made-up habits. That's all we are. We are the beliefs in our head, and based on the beliefs in our head, we live out in our day-to-day lives all of these habits that make true the beliefs that we have in our head. We're just like little robots being like, oh, you believe this? Oh, then I'm going to go find this person that connects with why this thing is true. So it behooves you to live in as much truth and to seek as much truth and as much of the good that serves and supports you as possible. Otherwise, you just get the crummy stuff. Ugh, nobody wants that. Okay, so in this third column, what is the new result? So my example of he doesn't hear me, doesn't listen to me. And then the new belief that I must adopt to change is, one of them I shared was, I'm worthy of being heard. So that I'll advocate for myself. Hey babe, I just really feel like this week when I've been sharing things, I just feel like you aren't hearing me. The new result is you get heard. You advocated for yourself because you believed you were worth hearing. You believed what you had to say matters. It was important enough to say. And the result is what you actually want to begin with. It's your new result is always the opposite of what's not working. He doesn't hear me. Oh, new result? He hears me. He's listening. I just had to advocate for myself. Awesome. If, for example, you have to do it all. I have to do everything. If I'm going to get it done right, that's what's not working. The new belief is, you know what? Maybe I don't have to do it all myself. You know, maybe I can put my ego aside, and you know what, maybe other people can help. Maybe other people can step in. Maybe they'll be just as good, perhaps better than me at that. You want to know the new result? Oh, new result is I feel supported. I don't have to do it alone. I'm not alone. I feel appreciated, maybe even, right? What other example? We complain about it's not going fast enough. Our own stuff, right? Let's talk about ourselves, our self-talk. I should be further along. I don't know how to do it. I've never been able to do this stuff, whatever. I can't. Like, all of that stuff is stuff that doesn't work because it's formed in a belief that isn't supportive of you and isn't supportive of your life. So, what belief must I change? Well, I have a belief that there's always a way. I can find things out. I'm sitting right here figuring out how to work a mic, figuring out how to record it, figuring out how to get you on the screen so you can see me and hear me, but also hear me properly in the podcasting mic, and figure out how to hold this sheet of paper up and do all this stuff. Like, I've never done that before, but I can figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll find the way, right? So what's true for you? The new result then is I can figure things out. I'm very capable. I'm capable of trying new things. Maybe you feel like I don't even have any friends. I just lost all my friends and nobody even wants to hang out with me. Oh, well, what new belief must I adopt to change? Oh, well, I have to believe I'm worth hanging out with. I have to believe I'm a pretty good person. Pretty cool person, in fact. I think you are. I have to believe that that other people are worth hanging out with, that I want to spend my time with them. Oh, what's the new result? I get to hang out with my people. I get to spend time. I get to feel connection and social engagement. Awesome. That's so cool, right? So use this paper throughout the rest of your week. I can't, like, share it with me. I want to hear what things that you come up with. This sheet of paper is like your freaking roadmap. It's a gold mine to figuring out how you think, what works for you, what doesn't work, why, and how to replace it. First thing, what's not working? So if you don't know what that is, think of any complaints. And then second thing, what new belief must I adopt to change? You can use this in the car. You can use this at any point in your life. At any point you complain, there is a choice that you have that you can make where you go, interesting. This is something I don't like, and I can either hate on it, and I can keep bitching and keep moaning and keep complaining, or I can decide to do something different. I can decide to be something different. I can decide to take this thing I don't like, it makes me so frustrated, and I can choose to use it as a learning opportunity. I can choose to let it make me better. I can choose to learn about myself. These things, this middle column is very vulnerable. These are all the things that you think and feel. This is all the stuff that your ego just wants to, like, I don't want to tell you those things, you know? It just wants to keep it close. And some of us, it's hard not to pride ourselves on the stuff that we complain about. We don't have stuff to complain about, then what, right? There's plenty of new stuff to learn. Don't worry, you won't miss it. But work on that. Work on finding solutions. That's all it is. It's literally all in your head, and it's all founded in your beliefs. Got it? We live out and we find people and we prove what we believe. So if something is not working for you, change your belief, and you will literally change your life. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Your Weekly Coach. It's been both my honor and my deep, deep privilege to share with you, to learn with you, to chat with you. Thank you so much for listening. Until next week, have a phenomenal week. Stay curious, stay true to yourself, real and authentic, vulnerable and kind, and know that in everything you do, everything you are, you matter, and you are enough just as you are. We'll see you next week. Thanks again.